Everything from clothing to household items are getting more expensive each day. American Giant is about keeping things simple and close to home. They aren't affected by tariffs because their products never leave the U.S. Support American-made tariff-free clothing with American Giant with American Giant. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at american-giant.com. That's 20% off when you use code STAPLE20 at american-giant.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Mikey Andersen, and this is Fantasy Avenue, where each week we talk about everything you need to know in the world of fantasy football. Hello, welcome back to Fantasy Avenue. It's another week. I'm Mikey Andersen. We're getting right into it. It was a good week of fantasy football. Unfortunately, it was a bad week for the Broncos. I'm going to do some quick shoutouts real quick as I pull up my fantasy app. Shout out to G. Macbeth for listening to the podcast, for mentioning it, for, calling that he wanted a shout out. Well, I got you, bro. Shout out Finn and Colden. You guys are going to hop on the podcast soon. We're going to get that done. And shout out the Gallatin High football coaches. It's a new occurrence having them listen to the podcast, but you've probably heard me mention things related to them in the past. Coach Yates, let's ride, Broncos. We are not riding. Coach Chandler, let's ride, Raiders? No, we'll see tonight. This episode's being filmed on a Monday, so the Raiders and the who's playing? The Packers. The Packers play tonight. It's going to be an interesting matchup, which means we can't exactly talk about everything related to fantasy football, but we're going to do our best to talk about as much as possible. The first thing I got to shout out is, holy crap, what an up and down week for me in fantasy. Up in terms of I won big in one league, 160 to 90. Yeah, big win. And then a down week down. This is crazy. This league is, I've already been struggling in this league now. Let me tell you, it auto-drafted. I feel like I've maybe told this story. Auto-drafted, first two rounds, Cooper Kupp and then Jonathan Taylor. Two players, I might not be picking normally. Might not be picking Jonathan Taylor normally. So it's been a rough start to the year, coupled with the fact that they both came back, but my team is honestly just fully struggles, right? The best player on my team this week was Cooper Kupp with 22. The next best, Sam Laporta, who carried me with 19. The next best, C.J. Stroud with 16. And you're thinking maybe it doesn't sound that bad. Well, the next best is 8, then 2, then 5, then 2, then 0. My team just sucked. Now, maybe it wouldn't be that bad. Whatever. I'm projected 96 points. That's just a low week for some people. Okay, I get it. Blah, blah, blah. Well, come to tell you that this person I'm playing, who I don't even know who it is, their team name is the Celtics in my league. A little bit interesting. The name that the account is under is Nifty, so I don't even know the real name. Well, they had Tua drop 30, Breece Hall drop 36, DJ Moore and Jamar Chase with 58 and 60, and 21 points by the Packers defense so far. Yeah, great freaking game. They dropped 225 points on my butt. That was fun. There's not so much you can do when two players outscore your entire team, but so what, right? I still keep moving. I still keep going. I still keep going strong. It was a good week of fantasy football. Not my favorite week in terms of normal football. I actually had my birthday this weekend. Yep. Big 17 years of age. It was a good day. It was a good, eventful day. And I came into the weekend. It was also the homecoming dance this week, right? So I had my birthday on Friday. Had a football game. We had a good win. It was a good game to watch. Then we had the Saturday dance, a fun day, right? Come into Sunday, the Broncos are playing the Jets. We're looking for some pizzazz. We have some bad blood, you could say, between our two teams, right? If you don't know why, the Broncos' new head coach, Sean Payton, had some kind of not great comments to say about Nathaniel Hackett, who is the Jets' offensive coordinator and was the Broncos' head coach last year. He had some, he basically, I'm pretty sure quoted was the worst job in the history of coaching. And I would agree with that. It was absolutely, positively terrible. Well, let me tell you what my Broncos did. Yeah, we lost that game. that was fun. We weren't able to come out with a W there. It doesn't help when you have 3 fumbles lost in a game, right? A couple on punts, right? We had drives wiped out. Got down on the goal line. I believe we got inside the 5 twice, and we were able to come away with a field goal both time. So you're just not winning football games when you do that. I can't lie to you. I wish I could say that I was lying right now, but I'm not. We just sucked. That's the whole Broncos story. And fortunately, it gets better because at least my fantasy teams were winning. But not a great birthday gift. I can't lie to you guys. It really wasn't. It really wasn't my favorite thing to see my Broncos get absolutely just crapped on this weekend by a team that is pretty freaking terrible. In another fantasy league, it was just such an inconsistent week. This fantasy league's pretty crazy. I have 4 players in a row right now. Now, the 2 Raiders players are still playing, so it can finish. But I'm looking at my team right now. My running backs combined for 1 point. My starting receivers combined for 3.5. Yeah, that's Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, Devontae Adams, and Cortland Sutton. And let me tell you, Miles Sanders, move on right now. I drafted him because I thought that he'd be good on the Panthers offense. I thought he'd be moving into a situation where he could kind of just, take control. Yeah, no, he's not taking control of anything. I would say he is my number 1 drop of this week, as in get him the frick off your team. Other players that are disappointing, hey, Chandler, what's going on with Josh Jacobs? We need to know. We need to know. All the Raider fans out there, what happened to your boy? What happened to the leading rusher? Now, I'm not going to, there's not a lot I can say as a Broncos fan to the consistency of, how our players are playing. It sounds a little hypocritical to make fun of players and how they're playing. But Josh Jacobs has a negative 2 fantasy points right now for me in this game. He's only passed 20 points once this year. Other than that 27-point performance last week, has 11, 9, and 9. That's not a freaking league-winning player right now. That's a little annoying. I can't lie to you. That's a little frustrating. Tony Pollard with 8.4 points. A little frustrating. You're not helping me win, but that's all right. We get Cooper Kupp back in the lineup, and it's smooth sailing for the rest of history. I don't know. Can't lie to you. It was a good week of fantasy football. Let's hop right into my top ads for next week because I got the shoutouts out of the way. We're going to have some guests on the podcast soon. I would love to have some guests on the podcast ASAP. I'm a little, I'm kind of burnt out again, right? I go a couple episodes of talking by myself, and then I think, I need to have some guests on the podcast. Then I maybe have a guest or two, or an episode or 2 with some guests. And then I think, we need to go back. So we're going to trade back and forth. If you are not into fantasy football and you're listening to this podcast, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that you've made it in 7.5 minutes without caring about fantasy football. So shout out to you guys. I can't lie to you. I do talk a lot about fantasy football on this podcast, considering it's called Fantasy Avenue. So that's expected. But hey, I appreciate you guys for sticking by, for listening to me just because you want to, even when you don't have to. I appreciate it. Let's get into, I think we're going to start with the best players from last week, just so I can kind of get my head wrapped around who was playing well. And then I can kind of talk about what am I seeing for the rest of the league. Big thing with the quarterbacks, the quarterbacks all just decided to just play shit, all right? 34 points was the leading. That's something to laugh at, but that's not necessarily impressive. The fact that it came from Justin Fields, the Bears quarterback, that's impressive. The fact that anybody can do anything in the Bears organization is impressive, considering they're like maybe the worst freaking organization in the history of football, and that's coming for somebody who knows the NFL. I know the Commanders are out there. I know the Browns are out there. I know teams like the Jaguars, the Chargers exist. I'm sorry if I just named your team, but hey, I'm just being brutally honest. You could be the Bills. You could have lost 4 straight Super Bowls, right? It could be worse. But the Bears are pretty dang trash. Good on Justin Fields. As I said 2 weeks ago, I actually dropped him. No, I think I was thinking about dropping him. I can't remember if I actually did. Maybe I should have not. No, I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I just benched him. But I told you guys, do not start him. Then he went and balled out against the Broncos, and I thought, okay, well, the Broncos have an absolutely trash defense. Do not start him against the Commanders, who are not they're not good or bad. Well, they played well again. So now I'm looking at the stats. Now I'm looking at the schedule, I see Minnesota next up on the list. Minnesota, who's been okay. Then I see the Las Vegas Raiders. Then I see the Chargers. I would say a start against the Raiders and the Chargers is very in the books. I would maybe... Dude, I don't know. I mean, he's so inconsistent. I have no idea if he's going to play well. I'm not starting him this week, I don't think. Even after that 33-point performance, I don't think I'm starting him. But hey, to each his own, right? To each his own. Number 2 quarterback, Josh Allen. Number 3, Jalen Hurts. Right? I mean, they play how they play. They're good. All that talk about me trading away Josh Allen was just, it was quite baffling. You might have heard my Uber reference last week. I'm not going to trade him away just yet because in the league that I have him, he is carrying me. So it was a little silly to suggest getting rid of him. Somebody who didn't play well, Dak Prescott. I don't like the Cowboys. I made it clear I don't like the Cowboys. Yeah, he threw 3 freaking picks. It's like he's just blind when he throws the ball, I swear. I feel like he has you know what really happened? His ego has grown so big in his brain that it's blocking his optical nerve. Did you guys know that his photo of his back screen of his wallpaper is like an edited photo of himself, like a wallpaper you'd see on like a Cowboys fan page on Instagram, edited and like retouched and looked fancy, and that's his own background, not even his freaking wife or like somebody important to him. He's an NFL player, and he's got a background that, I would have had when I was 8 if I was a Cowboys fan. A little odd. Just want to say, Dak, you're not playing like somebody who deserves a background. I'm sure if he heard that, he would be hurt. Okay, I'm getting a text right now. Getting a text. I actually have a draft tonight. I'm not editing out these clips, right? Because I'm built different. Having a draft tonight. We're doing an interesting strategy. It should be pretty fun. It's a wheel. It's a wheel strategy. Suggested by yours truly, Mikey Andersen. A wheel strategy. I suggest doing this, right? It's kind of a weird place to draft. Week 5. You don't want to do drafts this late in the season, but it's just it's for fun. And something to kind of spice it up because everybody knows who's playing well, blah, 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 right? This league is different. This league, I had the idea. Let's do something weird when we draft. Wait. Oh, it looks like we're getting rescheduled. I don't even care. What we're going to do in our draft whenever it happens is a wheel thing. Where each player, it's a wheel with all 32 NFL teams on it. Each player spins the wheel 4 times. And you get assigned 4 teams, right? It's a 10-person league, so some teams will be crisscrossed. And then that's honestly a disadvantage for you. You don't want any of your teams to be crisscrossed really because that kind of limits the players you can get. But you can only draft from the 4 teams. Right? It sounds pretty cool to me, don't you think? It sounds pretty sick to me. It'll make so the waiver wire is pretty dang depleted. It'll be a lot of certain teams. It'll be a really matchup based, which is fun fantasy football. They'll be like, who am I playing? You'll really be able to focus on your 4 teams and say, okay, these 2 teams are playing good defenses. This guy is playing a guy who a big run defense. Oh, this team, I have 4 of my 8 starters are on the same team, and they're all playing against a shit defense. Let's play them, right? So that was kind of my idea, and I think it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be sick. I think it's gonna be, because you don't want to just draft in the middle of the season. You don't want to just draft because then it's just no fun. So anyway, a little distracted. I have no idea what I was talking about before that. I'm gonna be totally honest. Oh yeah, I was talking about Dak Prescott and how bad he is at football. Right? Sorry. No disrespect. I know you're an NFL player and I am a high school football player, but hey, put me out there with the Cowboys O-line and maybe I can do something. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can. Maybe I fin a ball. We'll see. Those are kind of the quarterbacks for you. Let's go to the running backs. As I say this, I've said it in the past, I'll say it again. If I'm naming guys that are available in your leagues, take a glance, take a think, can I add these guys? Will I add these guys? Is it advantageous? I'm sorry, all English teachers out there. For that terrible English, let me repeat. Maybe I should go to speech therapy, or maybe I should work on my pronunciations like this. It would be advantageous to add some of these players if they are in good situations, which I will mention if I do seem so fit. A 1 player in the running backs, the number 4 running back from the the week 6. Devon Achain. His name could be A-Chain, but he actually goes by A-Chain. Saw an Instagram post about it. Don't quote me. I think A-Chain is a little cool. But again, 23 points this week. He is a legit contender for touches on that Dolphins offense. You know what they say about guys who touch balls a lot? They score a lot of touchdowns. Let me tell you what. And Devon Achain, something I heard about Dolphins, they like to play with balls, right? I've seen those SeaWorld lovely documentaries about dolphins who escaped near-death experiences and now play in the pool all day. The dolphins just like the balls, and he is a good Dolphin football player who gets the ball a lot. So, if he's available at this point, I was a non-believer. I will admit, I was a non-believer after the Bronco game. I thought, okay, first of all, let's stop bullying my team. Second of all, he's not good. And then he went out and he's consistently put up points. So, hey, go for it. Number 1 running back, Travis Etienne. Good to see him score. Another guy named Travis. Not only is my dad and Travis Kelce named Travis, but so is this guy. I'm seeing a correlation between the three. Not in their football playing abilities, but in their names. Very interesting, very interesting. Number 2, Zach Moss. Number 3, Breece Hall. Kind of an odd list of the top, I can't lie to you. And David Montgomery. David Montgomery, a big trade asset. I've talked to him about it. He's still one of my top guys. I like him a lot. He's a good guy. Let's look at the bottom. Anybody I'm really worried about, it has to be, the only guy's Miles Sanders. I want him off your team right now. Drop him, trade him. He is not good. He's not consistent. Maybe he'll get you a 15-point game, but then he'll give you 1.2. And a guy of his caliber should not be giving you 1.2. Also, you hear, I got a little bit of a complaint from somebody who will not be named. Mom. My mom listened to like 10 seconds of my podcast and thought, he's hitting something on the table a lot. I'm sorry when I do this, because you guys can hear that. I can barely even hear it. I have these headphones on. My setup is pretty freaking legit. I'll give it to you. So I can't even hear when I'm banging that stuff on the table. But anyway, I'll try to stop doing that. Okay. So it's something about podcasters. We take responsibility for our mistakes. Another mistake I have tonight is I'm not home for dinner already. It's 7 o'clock. I probably left my house at like frickin' 5, and I'm taking forever to do this podcast. And I'm hungry. So let's move on. Let's move on to the receivers. Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, complete standouts. I've already talked about them. They dropped 100 points in total. Yeah, that is more than quite a lot of teams actually. Sometimes it's hard to score that many points. Well, they both did it. DJ Moore came out of absolutely nowhere. That's just I have no idea what to say about that. Yeah, he had a good game last week. It's the same exact situation. Seeing all these good players against the Broncos and thought, and then they do it again, and then they do it again. I don't know. Maybe start him next week. I don't really know. I don't really know what to say about the Bears. Depends on your depth. Depends on if you consistently, you think 9 times out of 10 the guy that you can put in will score more than DJ Moore. If it's 50-50, put in DJ Moore because he's shown he has the ability to score 50. And not a lot of guys in the NFL have the ability to score 50 points. Number 3 does Tyreek Hill. And Adam Thielen, a steal in a lot of leagues. Somebody that you could probably pick up still. Don't quote me. Might be because he's a white guy. Not a lot of white receivers get a lot of respect. Shout out the longtime Bronco Ed McCaffrey. Yeah, heard. And shout out Adam Thielen. So if you can pick him up, maybe try because he's not bad at football. That's kind of all I'm going to talk about right there. Let's go down to the bottom of the list. I obviously, Tank Dell, you disappointed me a little bit. I've talked a lot of good about you, bro. Zatari knows. And you didn't necessarily stand out for me, so it's okay. I'm not mad. I'm just a little disappointed. Same with Nico Collins, other Houston Texans receiver, guy that I don't really think anybody drafted to start the year. He's now rostered in 95% of leagues, and for good reason. But he only had 4 targets. Little weird. You're not expecting the Falcons to have lockdown defense. I don't think the Falcons have had lockdown defense since primetime Deion Sanders. Which, if you've seen him lately, right, old guy with 3 toes, yeah, it's been a bit. It's been a bit since the Falcons have been legit at all. So that's interesting. I would not see that happening. big name Justin Jefferson, only 5.8 points. That's the reason I got killed by over. Oh, I lost by over 140 points. Now, I know that's big math for a lot of you football guys out there, but let me tell you, 140 equals a lot. So, I couldn't do anything, and Justin Jefferson didn't help me with that. Tight end segment. We're going on to that one. Gosh, I'm thinking right now I need some ads. I need some ad money. I don't have a job. Football season, you have my heart, but holy crap, you're a big commitment, and I can't seem to find a job while I'm in you, right? While I'm wrapped up with this football thing, that sounded weird. You have my heart, and then I went to proceed to say while I'm in you. Didn't mean it like that, folks. Did not mean it like that. It's a football. Not anything more than just a sport, okay? Anyway, I mean, I know people get romantic about their sports, but woo. What I was saying was, it's a big commitment, much like a relationship. It's okay. Now it's getting interesting in my mind. Now I'm seeing this comparison. I'm like, weird. Football really is. It is something romantic. I mean, I had to decide if I was going to get married to the game, and I said, yeah, I do, right? Maybe I am married to this game. Anyway, I don't have a job because of it, and, well, I do this podcast. I would love some ads. I've talked about it. I just seem to have a busy week every week, and then I get around to getting this podcast. I'm like, I wish I had ads, but ad will be a lot of work. When the time that comes where I get on ads will be a week of every day, after school working to try to get those and just get them set up. And so when I have the time, once I have a little, maybe take a break, maybe the relationship is getting a little strained and I have to take a break from football after we win the chipper. Maybe it'll be time to get a job and take some time and get a podcast, and then I'll have double the money. And then let me tell you what, my baby football will want me back, because then I'll be rich. Then I'll be rich and ready for some fun. Good life plan by Mikey right there. As I was saying, we were tight ends. I mean, that was a 2-minute long tangent. We're on to tight ends. Big play by Dallas Goedert, who's had not a good year so far. I feel like it's been maybe a little injury-ridden. Nope, it's just been bad. I'm just looking at the stats. He's played in every game. It's just been bad. Nobody saw that 28-point game coming probably, but hey, if you were starting him, good for you, I guess. George Kittle, 27, huge game. I mean, can you like anybody more in the NFL than you like George Kittle? I think is his name Jamal Williams? Yep, Jamal Williams. Yep. Saints running back. I love. It's not Pokemon. It's Pokemon. It's that type of stuff that makes you like an NFL player. Him, George Kittle, guys like that just, Wilkins on the Dolphins. Another Dolphin comes up in my stories. It's just lovable guys. And George Kittle is a guy that, maybe he won't put up insane fantasy points every week, but you just want to start him because you love him so much. Travis Kelce and Sam Laporta round out the top numbers. I've talked about those guys, talked about them a lot. Sam Laporta is a big start for me this week. Whatever. Tight ends are going to be tight ends. Sometimes they have big games. Sometimes they decide to take an absolute fall and don't. Saints defense with 29. Shutout New England. Big. Greg Zuerlein against the Broncos. I like kickers going against the Broncos. I like Harrison Butker this week a lot, going up against the Broncos on a short week. That's going to be a test for Broncos country on Thursday night, even though the Chiefs have not been playing great this year. Go Russ. It's going to be a test. I really like running backs and kickers against the Broncos defense. Broncos run defense sucks. A big ad for me this week is Isaiah Pacheco, somebody that's had an up and down year, but I do believe a lot of points are coming. And I like Harrison Butker because the Broncos defense is good enough to force a lot of kicks, but bad enough to give up a lot of points and give a lot of kicking opportunities. So that's kind of what we got going. Those are the two of my two. I'm starting off the week with just a couple big ads right away, and those are two of them. I also really like Sam Howell. It's a little odd of a choice, but Sam Howell is a guy you will find in every league. He's a good backup for you. Literally every league. Rostered in 11% of leagues. If you need a backup, this is not a guy you're going to start every week. Not even a guy that's in a starting rotation. If you need a bye week guy, Sam Howell could be that guy. So I want to point out a little bit right there to him. And finally, receivers. Receiver I really like this week, all of the Jags. I love the Jags offense. I love how much they spread the ball around. They're able to get the ball to everybody at least for 10 points. Calvin Ridley is obviously the face, followed by Christian Kirk, followed by Zay Jones with Evan Ingram as the tight end. Dude, the Jags offense is legit. In terms of fantasy offense, that thing freaking cooks. I mean, in terms of fantasy stars at every position, I don't know if there is offenses. I mean, it's them, it's the Vikings, and it's probably the Dolphins. What I can think of right now, fantasy stars. Oh, and maybe the Bills, right? Legit fantasy player at every single position on offense. There's not a lot. Yeah, there are some good drafts. Like if I can get one of those guys in the team draft tonight, yeah, that'd be hype. So anyway, that's kind of what we got going for the ads this week. I hope that I shout out somebody good. I hope that in this week's worth of episode, I mean, somehow I've talked for 25 minutes. That's a crazy part. I kind of just ramble, and that's why, I think this podcast is good for people who don't necessarily like fantasy football. Because I'm able to fill up a time giving good fantasy advice, but, giving, sort of not a ton of fantasy advice. I'm just giving my little spiel. And hopefully I'm entertaining enough that if you're doing something like mowing the lawn, as I know a couple of the Dalkey boys do, yes sir. You're doing stuff like doing the dishes. Shout out Carson Ross, yes sir. People like that. I don't actually know if he does that. I'm pretty sure he said that. Could be somebody else. Memory is a little foggy from the absolutely crazy day I've had going to school and then coming here, if you know what I mean. But things like that. Perfect time to listen to a podcast. Perfect time while you're sitting on your table wondering how you're gonna dive into a midlife crisis at the age of 17. Well, listen to a podcast while you do it. So I hope I can provide some good information, but I hope I can entertain people who aren't necessarily looking for the information. I hope I can get some guests on the podcast. I hope I can get some people in the Instagram DMs telling me what they like, telling me what they don't like. I hope I can get more people talking to me about it at school. Maybe I'll leave a little Easter egg, little thing. If you've listened to this point, and if you have some halfway decent memory, just say you listened. Say you got to minute. Say you got to. Let's just say you got to minute 25. Easy number to remember. 25. I got to minute 25. Come up to me. If anybody, I'm gonna shout out you first minute of the episode. If you say, I got to minute 25. Oh, I heard you have a podcast. 25 minutes. Bam. All right. So I hope everything came true that you've so wished for in your life. I hope this podcast filled the void in your hearts that all of you guys have. I hope that one day you can look like Joe Burrow. And I'll see y'all next week. Peace.